And that's how Satan wants us to be. He wants us to be stuck in that rut, and he wants us to be stuck in, not having any happiness, not having any of that rest in our life that we need. And he doesn't want us to stop and take time to think about what's going on in our life right now, because he knows we'd probably change what we're doing if we really realize what we're doing to ourselves.
Well, it wasn't in our last episode. He doesn't want us to stop, because at that point we're quiet and we can hear that still small voice.
Exactly.
So he keeps us busy.
This week on Marriage, Life, and More, we're going to do part 2 of our second episode of our series on Marriage Reset, Roommates to Soulmates in Your Marriage. We'll be back with that right after this. Welcome once again to Marriage, Life, and More. This is a podcast about marriage, Bible, and book studies, and we interview people that have inspiring stories. I'm Daniel Moore, your host. I have my beautiful co-host sitting over here, Michelle, my wife. She's here with me this week once again. Thank you for joining us. If you're not familiar with our show, check out our website at www.marriagelifeandmore.com. All of our platforms are there, YouTube and Rumble links, and we're on the Christian podcasting app Edify. We're also on your Alexa and Google smart devices. You can also visit us on social on Facebook, Instagram, and X at CT Gap Online. And if you're a fan of our show, please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment on our platforms. Give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. And we'd be eternally grateful to you for doing that. Also, I want to mention, I don't know that I've mentioned it on this podcast. I think I did on my other one. But we have a blog now on the website. So every week when we upload a new episode, I'm also uploading a blog post to go along with that. So it's similar material, but just a little bit different. So if you like to read blogs, they're all probably about a 2 to 3 minute read for the most part. They're not very long. But you can go to our website, and there's a link at the top that says blog. Just click that, and you can check out our blogs for each episode each week there on our website. Well, as I said earlier, we are in part 2. Last week, we started episode 2 of our series on Marriage Reset, and we did the first half of that, and we talked about exhaustion, being tired, and how Satan loves that. He wants us to be exhausted, because then anything that means anything in our life, we ignore it, and we put all that on the back burner, and that's not how God created us to be. And the fact that God created us a little bit different, then he must have a solution on how to fix all of that. And that's what we're going to get into this week. And this week we're going to be doing part 2 of our second episode of Marriage Reset, the hidden cost of marital exhaustion. So last week, as we left the episode, we talked about 2 questions that we need to answer if we feel like that we're exhausted in life. And we were going to talk about those this week. Well, the first question was, what brings you rest? Now, what's your go-to move when you're running on empty? Do you do like my wife and brew a 3rd cup of ultra strong coffee? That just came to me right there when I read that. I was like, that's a perfect example.
With a couple shots of espresso? Yes.
Yeah. Scroll endlessly on your phone, chug an energy drink, sneak in a cat nap in the school pickup line, or reach for a sugary snack for a quick boost. Well, while these habits might get us through the next hour, they rarely offer true renewal.
So true.
More often than not, they leave us feeling more wired, sluggish, or guilty for indulging on empty fixes. And I know I've got friends that, that 5-hour energy stuff that came out some time back. People drink that stuff like water.
What do we drink at lunch?
Well, Celsius drinks.
It's still an energy drink. Yeah. So,
but that stuff, you drink it if it, so the Celsius drinks, I can drink one of those and it not really affect me any. But that 5-hour energy stuff, when you go up and then you come back down, you feel worse after you come back down, in my opinion, than you did while you were up. And it doesn't last very long. And I know used to, I worked third shift. And so I'd be up midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning is when I worked. And I would have to try doing caffeine and different things. And man, I felt horrid after taking some of that stuff because it's so temporary.
Yeah.
It's like it's really short-lived and then it's gone.
I'm just going to say the coffee is the best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it may be bad or it may be short-lived. It's still amazing. A
good old Americano with some peppermint mocha. That's the best way to go.
Or a latte, a butter pecan latte.
So what exactly
Just
brings...
so that you guys know, we have our own coffee maker, so we do not definitely go and buy these all the time. We make our own all the time. It was a great investment.
Instead of 7 brew, it's more brew.
That's so good.
So what actually brings real rest? I'm sure that's the burning question because some of us are so exhausted. We sleep all night long. We take naps. We do all this stuff, but we still feel tired. Well, rest is taking intentional time to stop, restore your energy, and revive your mind and body. It's meant to be a pause that recharges you, not just a break from work, but a recovery of strength. The challenge is that rest is often misunderstood in our hustle-driven culture. It's mistakenly viewed as laziness or a waste of productive time. Like pressing pause means you must be off track or unmotivated. No one wants to seem like they're really slacking, so we avoid true rest and glorify burnout instead. Rest also gets a bad reputation as being dull or the opposite of fun. Some even misapply spiritual wisdom, believing that slowing down is dangerous or unspiritual. Misunderstanding verses like the one that says idle hands are the devil's workshop. But rest, when practiced well, is not weakness. It's how we reconnect with what matters and restore what's been depleted.
Yep.
It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what brings you back to life. But rest is not laziness. Consider this explanation from Psychology Today. They said, what rest is? Regeneration. The way your body lives, thrives, and survives, using the information it receives and creates. Stop sleep, and you can die. Short shift sleep, and you wreck your ability to learn and remember. Increase your chance of stroke and heart attack. Set yourself up for colds. Mess up your skin and set yourself to gain weight, quickly and reliably. And that's just a passive form of rest, sleep. Because there's far more. The active forms of rest that you consciously control that react your own regeneration. There's physical rest, mental rest, social rest, spiritual rest, ways to renew you and restore you as your body rebuilds itself. In today's high-speed culture, rest is often the first thing we sacrifice to keep up with the demands of work, family, and life. Whether you spend your day in front of a computer or on your feet doing physical labor, your mind and body still need time to recover. When we push forward without taking time to pause, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, we increase the risk of burnout, physical strain, and harm to our closest relationships. Without rest, it's not just our energy that suffers, our overall well-being starts to unravel. I will be the first to say, because as we talked last week, you and I are from the generation where we have a very strong work ethic. I don't really care for naps anyway because they have a tendency to give me a headache if I sleep during the day like that. I don't feel so good when I wake back up. Like some people just get regenerated, re-energized, whatever the word is, whenever they take a nap. But even if I could take a nap and not get a headache, I think it would be hard for me to do it because I have a problem, kind of what we're discussing here. I have a little bit of problem in my mind thinking, well, that's time I could be doing something else I need to get done. I feel like not that taking a nap is like a waste of time or nothing like that, but it's taking away from time that I need to be doing something different. And that mindset is very hard to break, really. I know there's times because I work on computers and stuff in the evenings and on the weekends, if I have times where I don't have computer work to do for like a week And I have all these evenings where I can sit down and maybe watch some TV or spend time where you're at or whatever. If it goes too long, I start feeling like I'm supposed to be doing something because I'm so used to doing it all the time. I'm like, there's surely something that I'm not doing right now that needs to be done. It's like I always got this stuff going on in my mind. And as I was, putting this episode together and everything that was coming into place with all of this, I got to thinking, and I was like, man, I really probably need to think about how I look at things, even in my own mind, because, and not that I don't ever do anything really enough to exhaust me per se or give me burnout or that kind of thing necessarily. I always try to watch that, but there probably are times that I could, do something to get some more rest, probably. And I know when you take a nap, it re-energizes you. And
but how often do I take a nap?
You don't get to take them very often.
I don't really want to take a nap. The only time I ever want to take a nap is if I'm super exhausted or I have a migraine. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'm like you. I got other things to be doing, especially, just there's too many things to be done for me to be laying down. And if I'm laying down and you're like, okay, you lay down. I lay down for a little bit and you're doing stuff. I'm like, heck no, if he's going to do stuff, I'm going to get up and do stuff. And you're like, I told you to lay down. And it's like, no. And it's like, I don't want to take that time and be selfish with that. But there are times when my body says, you need to take a rest. And I know that. So, but yeah, it is hard to shut that mindset off of go, 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 do this when you have other things to get done.
It's hard to balance it.
It is. It really, truly is.
Because you're right. If I'm sitting down and you're up doing something, I feel like, okay, I'm looking like a lazy husband sitting here. What is there I need to do? So I'm looking around, you got to trim the tree or whatever.
Oh, whatever.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, you don't even own a chainsaw.
Well, my pocket knife.
Let's
get down and dirty. We're going to do this the hard way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the reason why God calls for a day of rest.
Yeah.
And I've always struggled with that because everybody's like, well, you should have Sunday and you shouldn't do anything. And I'm like, is that the day of rest or does he just call for a day of rest? And I think a lot of people they're like, well, we don't even really need to have a day of rest. As long as you're not working.
Right.
You're having your day of rest. And it's so interesting to see different people's aspects of that. And so, but I think rest is very, very important.
Or is Sunday one of the only days you have off during the week to get all your other stuff done? A lot of people look at it that way too. But, and even, a lot of churches now just go to church on Sunday mornings. And so you have the afternoon and evening, left to rest, I guess is what we should be doing. But, how many times do we end up out there on the mower? Or, we have other stuff that we have to do, and we just didn't have time to do it last week, so we're out there doing it.
Well, and we had a life group. Not during the summer, but throughout the year, it was every other Sunday, because we have life groups at our church, and we hosted one. And so we were always preparing for that, praying, getting the house ready, baking, cooking, and, we did that every other Sunday. So our Sundays were like that. But, it's just, you fit as much as you possibly can in your whole 7 days that you have.
Yeah. And it seems like it's gotten to that point where you have 7 days worth of stuff to do constantly.
And what's one thing I asked for throughout, just like out of the 7 days?
Is to have one day where we just don't do anything and spend time with each other.
That's my rule. I say it's a rule, but it's really not because we break
So we spend time each other cleaning house and mowing and
pretty much
cleaning out the swimming pool.
It's not very often that we get that alone time to just do nothing, and that's really hard for me. And he knows that. We've talked about it because I'm like, out of all the years and everything we do, and we're going 20 million different directions, I just want one day.
Right.
So.
Well, this is why God encourages us to rest throughout Scripture. And you mentioned one earlier, about the seventh day being a day of rest. Mm-hmm. Well, in Psalm 46, God also said, "Be still and know that I am God. But they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Mm-hmm. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." That's Isaiah 40, verse 31. Hebrews 4:10, for whoever has entered God's rest has also rested from his works as God did from his. Again, we have God setting an example of how he wants us to live our lives. God took a day of rest when he, the 7 days of creation, when he created this world, all of us and the animals and put everything into it. It says on the seventh day, God rested. And I think at that point, he was trying to set an example for humanity, for all of us, on how he wanted us to handle our schedules. But here we are in 2025, Satan's got us running ragged all over the place. I don't want to say everything that we do is because of Satan, but we are busy. It's our choices.
Yes. That's what I was getting ready to say. It's our own choosing of what you do and what you don't do.
It is.
And that's where I feel like, and I'm sitting here thinking, don't most people take a sabbatical?
Yeah.
Like if they're in leadership, they take a sabbatical.
Church leadership people are real big on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you really think about that. They need that. They need that time away. But
time to recharge.
So do we. That's the reason why when we talked about in the past about a vision week, vision retreat or whatever you want to call it, to get you and your husband on the same page, it's like you need that week of rest to know what God's speaking into you and what you guys need to be moving forward with. So I think it's very, very important. Rest is very important for a marriage.
Yeah, re-energize those plans that God has put in place. And Jesus consistently demonstrated the importance of rest in his daily routines. He would often retreat to quiet, remote places to be alone, invited only a few close companions, and made time for meals and celebrations, even when there were pressing needs around him. Rather than always staying on task, he understood the value of stepping away. On one occasion, Jesus even distanced himself from his own disciples. He also encouraged the same practice in those who followed him. In Mark 6:31, Jesus told his companions to withdraw and find time to rest because they had been so busy that they didn't even have time to eat. His actions weren't driven by self-interest, but rather by wisdom, knowing that burnout leads to emptiness. God's principle is straightforward. Slow down, be still, trust in him, and choose rest. It's practical, intentional, and often goes against the fast-paced values of society. The thing is, though, real rest requires planning and rhythm. It means incorporating regular pauses before we reach our breaking point. It also means finding life-giving practices that restore our energy. Rest is not the absence of doing, but rather the presence of renewing. Some helpful ways to rest and recharge include spending extended quiet time with God, taking a personal retreat, which is what you just kind of mentioned, especially with your marriages, or simply sitting in stillness to sense God's whisper. Jesus invites all who are overburdened to come to him for rest, as written in Matthew 11:28. Reflect deeply on Scripture, not just memorizing it, but embedding it into your spirit through repetition and meditation. In essence, he's telling us, get enough sleep. Ideally, adults should get at least 7 hours each night. Quality sleep not only helps with functioning during the day, it can even strengthen relationships. There's a study out from the University of California, Berkeley, that revealed that couples who sleep well are more likely to show kindness, gratitude, and teamwork. They approach challenges with more patience and understanding. Laughter can also reset your mind and body.
I do agree with this one.
Yes, it releases natural chemicals that promote well-being and reduce stress. Listening to music, regardless of what genre, can energize your mind and body. Spend some time reading, engaging with nature, or stepping away from social media to clear mental clutter. Enjoy a slow walk outdoors. Dedicate time for relaxing practices like massage or bubble baths, and try to nourish your body with stress-reducing foods. Avoid using caffeine, which can make you feel more anxious and overstimulated. Take up calming activities like painting, solving a puzzle, or coloring. Watch a comfort-filled movie, but do it with intention rather than as an escape. Set aside a weekly Sabbath. Allow one day each week to truly rest, sleep in, unplug from your devices, and do things that restore your soul. Whether that's cuddling with a pet, playing music, stretching, or walking your dog, make rest a non-negotiable part of your rhythm. Goodness, that's brutal.
One day.
Oh, that's
one
tough.
day.
Yeah, that's speaking to all of us.
Yeah, it actually
I'll tell you
is.
what. And it's, I don't know. I do, like you said, with the laughter and getting the sleep, there's certain things that we do that our human body, as a natural reflex, it releases, endorphins and different kinds of chemicals in our body that actually does re-energize us and helps us to be able to function on a better level and be able to do the things that we need to do. And I think, for us, we do have the capability of getting, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night typically, except for our dogs. We have 2 dogs that sleep with us.
And one's a half human.
And one of them, he thinks the whole bed is his, and it's a king-size bed.
And let me tell you.
Oh, my goodness.
He's, 40 pounds?
Yeah, about 40 pounds. Yeah, 35 to 40.
I mean, that dog lays like
Golden
a
doodle.
half human in our bed. And he does
He loves
not.
to cuddle.
Yes.
Shoves himself right up against your back, right up under your ribs, just wherever he can find a spot. And then our little Chihuahua, he's just as bad.
He's not little.
He's 15 pounds, 15 to 18 pounder, but yeah.
Little Chihuahua. He's bigger.
But I will say there's, if I don't get enough sleep, or if I'm having some bad time, for a while, I'm not seeing any happiness in my life or having any laughter, I can relate to that, at times in my life when I've been through situations like that or whatever, it kind of shuts you down, and you just kind of react to everything at that point. And it could be bad or a good reaction. A lot of times it's not probably so good because we have an irritation going on, and all that kind of stuff sets in. And that's how Satan wants us to be. He wants us to be stuck in that rut, and he wants us to be stuck in, not having any happiness, not having any of that rest in our life that we need. And he doesn't want us to stop and take time to think about what's going on in our life right now, because he knows we'd probably change what we're doing if we really realize what we're doing to ourselves.
Well, it wasn't in our last episode. He doesn't want us to stop because at that point we're quiet and we can hear that still small voice.
Exactly.
So he keeps us busy. And I think about laughter, and I think, some of your jokes, he'll say
I'm a
something.
comedian.
No, oh my gosh. And it's so dumb that I'll just laugh, and he'll just look at me and then start laughing. And I'm just like, you do that to irritate me. And it's so funny, but my goodness, I laugh. We have such a great time. I love to hear Dan laugh. And it just, it's just one of the soul things for me that is just like, oh my gosh, he's laughing. And it excites me as to the point, like I'm smiling like, okay, what is he going to come up with now, But I think laughter does your soul so good, whether it's with a girlfriend, a friend, whatever it may be. Do something crazy. Do something you've never done, but have a good laughter. Make somebody laugh.
Like they say, laughter is good medicine. I think I've heard that before.
It truly, truly is.
Yeah. It just kind of sets a tone, really.
Yeah, it really does.
Whenever that takes place. And it just lets people know you're having some fun. We've got to have some fun in our life every once in a while.
Absolutely.
So as we talk about here, getting this rest in our bodies, how will you embrace the rest that rejuvenates your spirit? True self-care includes regularly doing the things that brings life back into your heart and your soul. It's time to actively pursue the kind of rest that God designed for us. And I think probably the thing that spoke the most to me as I was putting this section together was God set that example, and we're supposed to be following his example.
Yep.
That's another one of those places that we just don't really think about it, and we kind of do our own thing. And we don't really follow what God put there in front of us for that plan that he gave us to, work from that place of fullness.
Yeah.
And not a place of emptiness. And so in a nutshell, that's how you get rest. And that's why it's important that you get that rest.
Yeah.
And that will help you with that exhaustion that you have in your marriage as you try to work yourself back from this roommate perspective to being a soulmate. So the next question
I got to make a comment.
Yeah.
When you said watch a comfort-filled movie, When you typed that in, were you thinking Hallmark?
Hallmark.
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, it used to be Lifetime, but that became the Man-Hater channel. And so we flipped to Hallmark after that.
When you read
Christmas
that.
in July.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, hello. But when you read that, I was like, I know he was thinking Hallmark.
Yeah. See, I love the joke that I've seen from time to time. It said, there's a news flash. Hallmark came up with the second storyline.
Oh my gosh.
I'll have to laugh every time I read that.
You should see him.
And
He's
it's
over
like,
here hitting his hand on
oh
the
my
desk
goodness.
because he's dying laughing.
Hallmark has thousands of movies probably, and they've all got the same storylines. So it's genius. There's a second storyline.
When he starts working Friday nights at the football game, my mom and I get together, and that's what we do on Friday
Yep.
nights is we watch Hallmark movies. Because,
Hallmark chick flicks.
Yep. We get together to watch those because you know what? That's what us girls do.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that.
I'll enjoy my football nights.
I just had to make that comment because I'm like, what? I think he put that in there because of me,
Yeah.
like with Hallmark.
And keep this in mind. God didn't say that a Hallmark movie was the way to get rest. So don't think that that's what we're saying.
No,
So,
no, actually, it's not by any means.
that's
Like,
funny.
why can't my marriage be like this?
No kidding. Yeah, there's that Instagram thing. TikTok.
I couldn't help myself on that comment. Okay,
all right.
moving on.
So the second question here to wrap up this week's episode, what brings you life? Because we've already talked about in the first half of this episode that we know we got to have rest in order to fix this exhaustion problem. And when we're so exhausted and under the weight of everything, we really don't feel like we have a life a lot of times. You know, we feel like that we're just constantly, taking care of everybody else's problems and pouring into everybody else and never into ourselves. And, like we said at one point, you can't really give what you don't have.
Right.
And you can't work from a place of emptiness. Well, taking breaks and allowing your body to rest is essential to recharge your strength. But true godly self-care goes even further. It requires that you discover what stirs your soul and awakens purpose within you. While rest restores your physical energy, it's actually only part of the picture. The other vital piece is identifying what brings meaning, joy, and passion to your life. God doesn't call us just to survive, but to live out of abundance. When we live filled, we can give more freely to those around us. You are meant to overflow with grace, not run on empty. So ask yourself, are you producing fruit that blesses others? Now, the prophet Jeremiah, he described a person connected to God like a tree rooted by fresh water, steady, flourishing, and unwavering in tough seasons. Despite the pressure of heat or the dryness of drought, that tree continually bears fruit because its roots are deep and nourished. This is the kind of spiritual and emotional abundance that happens when your life is rooted in God's presence through both rest and purpose. When you're in touch with what breathes life into your soul, you stop relying on external circumstances to carry you through. Instead, you thrive even in challenging times because your source runs deeper. To love others well and give generously, you must consistently engage in experiences that refresh your spirit. Things that bring creativity, beauty, and hope alive in you. The kind of practices that feel like a breath of fresh wind from God, as if your dry bones are being restored to life. Kind of similar to the example that's used a lot in Ezekiel's vision. So think for a moment, what ignites your spirit? What dreams are hidden inside of you waiting to be pursued? What pastimes leave you energized and full rather than disengaged or distracted? This isn't about chasing distractions or collecting more things. The pursuit of wealth, recognition, status, or an impressive lifestyle may offer fleeting satisfaction, but those things cannot sustain your soul. Lasting joy isn't tied to circumstances, it stems from the inside. Temporary happiness fades, but internal joy grounded in God has staying power.
So good.
And when I think about that tree that we talked about in Jeremiah, there's another thing about that tree too that really stands out, and that's the fact that if you ever look at pictures of illustrations of that story, you'll notice that the tree, you'll see the roots, and they go down into the water.
Yeah.
And they're big, healthy roots, and they go deep. And so when the winds come, the winds blow, the things of life tries to come up against it, that tree stands firm.
Yeah.
And it does not waver. Nothing can blow it over because, again, its roots are rooted in that water, that nourishment that it needs to stay healthy, that nourishment that it needs to stay strong. And, of course, the whole scope of the picture of that story is, that water that's being spoke of there is God. That's the living water. And us as people, if we sprout our roots out into that water, and the deeper, if we do this rest like we're supposed to, and we sit there and just listen for God's voice, and we grow stronger in God, we give him those moments that we need for him to pour into us and to strengthen us through the Holy Spirit and through his word, then our roots go deeper and deeper into that water. They go deeper into him. And so then when those things do come up against us and Satan tries to distract us, he tries to throw things in front of us to take our joy. He tries to throw things in front of us to make us feel that we're so exhausted, we just don't have a reason to live or a reason to pour into anybody. We're a lot tougher at that point, and we're a lot stronger. And God will always be there for us through all of those winds of change and the things that the world tries to throw at us. And I know for myself, and I think you feel the same way, anytime that we get to have time just to read the Bible, or, you like to listen to worship music, things like that, what does that do for you when you have those moments like that?
It just makes me feel closer to God. Gives me that time that I need to just really soak in his presence.
Yeah. Makes you stronger in his word. And I feel a refreshing, whenever I have my chance to get in and get some time to read. It just changes the whole, especially if I can do it in the morning, which I'm usually is my best time is in the morning. It just really kind of gives me a whole different outlook on my day, pretty much. It just, I go into my day in a different mindset. And so there's an important thing about keeping ourselves rooted where God wants us to be.
Yep.
God wants your heart overflowing with love, joy, kindness, gentleness, peace, and all the qualities that reflect his character. That's the fruits of the Spirit. He wants these things rooted so deeply in you that they naturally spill over and touch the lives of others. When you live from that place, rest and purpose seamlessly work together, and the result is a life that bears fruit in every season. Michelle and I, we've had a great relationship between each other, but we also get exhausted with life eventually. We both like to take off on a vacation and spend time with each other that is just relaxation time without any major agendas or places to be and schedules to keep. When we can unwind in that way, it recharges our batteries and keeps us going until the next time that we need a break. Back in June, what did we do?
We went on a cruise.
We took a vacation. And that was very relaxing. Now,
it was very
unfortunately
relaxing.
For you got sick the last couple of days.
I did.
Right when we were getting our sea days in, and we could have just relaxed and enjoyed those days.
But I did. I
sick,
slept.
But you still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But we went on a vacation a couple of years ago, went to the mountains. You just have to get away sometimes. And sometimes it's nice just to go to those quiet places. We've come to love the mountains. We really do. It's so beautiful and serene, and you're out there with nature. You don't hardly see anybody at all when you're out there going on those back roads and seeing lakes and elk and all kinds of animals. And, we'd go out there and we'd find a mountain top in the distance and we'd just start driving towards it.
And we would pack our lunch and we would just literally have lunch either at a picnic table or somewhere. But we had a great time. I mean, it was just, we weren't bombarded with people, our phones. It was just
they
nice.
wouldn't work.
Yeah. It was great.
We were hoping our GPS would keep working. We wouldn't get lost.
It's not necessarily so much me as it is Dan. Dan, he does a lot with his phone, and nothing wrong with that. But, even when we were on the cruise, he was working. Yeah. And it was like, seriously. But I'm like, hey, you do you, I'm going to do me. I'm here for rest and, and he always paid attention to me. So I'm not, not that. But I mean, Dan does a lot when it comes to the podcast. He does not only this one, but he does another one. And then he also is studying on something big right now. And, he likes to study a lot. Me, on the other hand, I just like to put my worship music in and close my eyes and lay out in the sun.
Yep.
While he's in the shade with the fan.
That's right.
Studying.
Yeah, that's out on the ocean. Yeah. Definitely got to have the fan.
Yeah.
I roast and look like a tomato if I don't. But there's just something about getting out into nature where it's quiet, and just enjoying what God's created. And it's a re-energizing moment to just get yourself. And again, that's how we get filled. That's how we fill those empty places. We have to let God in there and let him rework all of that and actually let him do it and make sure that he is taking care of that. So in marriage events, thousands of people have been asked to share their experiences and what those are that bring them to life. Well, the following list that we're going to share here is intended to prime the pump and help you clarify what will ignite passion in your heart and help you stay abundantly full of joy. Also, we'll look at the earlier list of activities that bring rest. Some of those are going to apply here as well, such as spending time with God. So we're not going to mention any of those here. But Michelle, why don't you share with us, there's a list there of items that, again, people have been asked to share what experiences bring them life into themselves. What is it that it takes for them to refocus and to get that fulfillment in their life? So give us some of that list there.
Spend time with family, serve others, invest time in a hobby, have a coffee date with a close friend. I don't know why anybody would want this one, but I'm going to say it. Exercise or work out.
Not me.
I know, neither. Mentor a troubled teen or underprivileged youth. Go on a mission trip. Travel or go on vacation. Conquer a fear. Take a risk and try a new activity. Something out of the ordinary that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Like, was that skydiving? You could do something like that.
Something like that.
Take a class or learn something new. Learn a foreign language. Teach a class. Start your own business. Regularly attend a Bible study class. Go on an adventure to a museum, historical site, concert, or play. Try creative writing or blogging about a topic you care about.
So we've done some of those. Yeah. And I think you can probably see, there's some there on that list that works for you. Mm-hmm. What's some that stuck out to you there that works in your life?
I'm really big about serving others. So I love that.
You are, yeah.
And I love spending time with my family. Probably too much sometimes. I love having coffee dates. Definitely not exercising or working out. But travel, go on a vacation. Of course, I like to go on an adventure.
Yeah, we do concerts occasionally.
Yeah.
We've actually got one coming up here pretty soon. That's just some ideas. It's just something a little out of the ordinary.
What about you?
To get you kicked off. A lot of, honestly, and a lot of people probably know this, me and you are similar. And so there's a lot of things there that we do.
You're doing creative writing and blogging.
Yeah, some of them are a little different.
You have your own business.
Yeah.
You teach.
I don't do the foreign language thing, though. I have hobbies. I was a drummer for a while. So I really enjoyed doing that while I done it. And I like to serve other people with, in different ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things there that...
Notice he didn't say spend time with family.
Well, I enjoy that too.
Uh-huh.
It's joy spending time with you.
Not family. It's just me. Just kidding.
No, I enjoy spending time with my family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them in that list that works for me and works for you.
Yeah, we're a lot.
And I'm sure you guys can resonate with some of those things in that list as well. But that's just some things that you can think about to maybe take some time out. Take a time out in your life and go do something a little bit different, and just get your mind cleared out and allow God to work inside of you. As we close this week, what about you? What habits or rhythms will you commit to that will renew your spirit and deepen your connection with God so that His presence fills every part of your life? Many of us are juggling full schedules packed with responsibilities, ambitions, and even good intentions. But constant activity often leads to shallow interactions, emotional exhaustion, and a tired heart that feels disconnected from purpose and joy. When we operate from a place of depletion, both we and our relationships suffer because we simply have nothing left to give. And that's not the life that God has called us to. His design is for us to love fully and live abundantly, not from scarcity, but spiritual overflow. Our world is desperate for people who are refreshed, centered, and full awake in their faith. Rested, vibrant hearts shine with clarity, love, and generosity. It's from that place of wholeness that we can truly make an impact. So as we close this week, I hope that maybe some of the stuff that Michelle and I talked about over those last couple of weeks, I know good and well this probably resonates with 99.99% of anybody listening to this episode right now. Including us. We're very busy also. We're not going to sit here and say that we're not. We are very busy. And sometimes it's an effort that we have to make to even, close our minds off and, get some good quality God time. I hate to say that, but, life is so busy with stuff that's going on, and that's how Satan wants it. Mm-hmm. He wants us to be empty and have no substance inside of us so that we can't even build ourselves up or even people around us. Yeah. That's the way that he wants to keep it. But that's not God's plan. And so we hope that maybe something that we've shared here will help you understand how to get that rest and how to replenish yourself so that you're not exhausted in your marriage. Yeah. Because that's what this was all about. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, remember, it's time to actively pursue the kind of rest that God designed for us.
Yes, definitely. So the takeaway from this episode, roommates are exhausted and have nothing to give. Soulmates give regularly out of an abundantly full heart. And Michelle and I can definitely resonate with that because we've been where we were exhausted and had nothing to give to each other, and we didn't like it. I'm so glad that we're not in that condition anymore. I feel like both of us do speak into each other a lot. We build each other up.
Absolutely.
And we do the best that we can to make sure that our marriages are fulfilled to the best they can be with the situations that we are in. Yeah. And I'm just thankful to God that He's really worked that out within us. And that's our prayer for all of you, is that you can come to that point as well. Well, next week, we'll be coming in with a brand new episode. And so we hope that you'll join us for that as we continue this episode, or this series, I guess I should say, on marriage reset and how to become a soulmate instead of being a roommate. So as we go this week, we just pray that your marriage is stronger and that your walk with God is closer after this episode. This is an extension of Connecting the Gap Ministries, and we pray that you have a blessed week.